This Hall Chief. Xiao Yan's eyes abruptly shrank after hearing the indifferent voice being transmitted from distorted space. The Hall of Souls was clearly intervening by sending this person. Moreover, this person called himself Hall Chief. Could it be that he was that extremely mysterious Hall Chief of the Hall of Souls? Black fog continuously seeped out of the distorted space. It slowly formed into a human figure, completely covered in black fog in front of everyone. Hall Chief of the Hall of Souls? The eyes of the first elder from the small pill tower shot to the human figure in black fog. His slightly hunched body leaned forward. The space around him began to slowly fluctuate at this moment. Perhaps addressing me as Deputy Hall Chief is better. That black fog fluctuated slightly while a faint laugh was emitted. Looks like you, the Deputy Hall Chief, is not bold enough. Since you dare to barge into my falling star pavilion, you should use your actual body. An illusory figure. Could it be that you are timid? A cold smile lifted onto the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth. With his eyesight, he naturally sensed that the human figure in the black fog in front of him was merely a shadow and not the actual body. Xiao Yan, you are the first person in many years to call this chief timid. A strange laugh was emitted from the human figure in the black fog. However, your current achievements have surprised this chief. If I had known this would happen, I would have exterminated the Shao clan back then. Those from your Hall of Souls have said these words many times. Xiao Yan's eyes were icy cold as he slowly said. However, if you are only here to utter nonsense using your status as the Deputy Hall Chief of the Hall of Souls, then there is no need for this illusory figure to continue existing. Xiao Yan began to slowly lift his hand as he spoke. He aimed it at that illusory figure. The space around the figure began to fluctuate. The reason this chief is here is naturally because of the two ancient god jade in your hands. The person in the black fog faintly smiled. Black fog surged in front of him before it turned into a black mirror. The mirror rippled and an image appeared. The image was of a huge and dark prison. One of the cells had black color chains wrapped around it like a spider web. A haggard-looking figure sat in the middle of the chains. The many chains were like poisonous snakes restricted his limbs. Xiao Yan's face appeared ferocious as he looked at this figure. His body suddenly stood up. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, spreading in all directions. The tables and chairs beside him were turned into dust almost instantly. A monstrous, murderous desire caused the entire hall to turn cool. Father! Xiao Yan tightly clenched his hand. His nails pierced his palm while his body trembled. That haggard figure was someone he was extremely familiar with. It was his father, Xiao Zhan. Even though he had not seen his father for many years, Xiao Yan immediately sensed a familiar feeling that came from their connected bloodline. Hand the two ancient god jade over to me. Otherwise, with just a thought, this very day next year will be the anniversary of your father's death. The person in the black fog seemed to be totally unconcerned about Xiao Yan's monstrous murderous intent as he coldly cried out. Creak! Xiao Yan's expression was so dark that it was terrifying. His fist emitted a cracking sound. At this moment, he was like a wild beast. He was losing his rational mind. Both of his eyes were bright red. An insane murderous desire swelled in his mind. It roared, demanding that he tear this person in front of him into tens of thousands of pieces. Xiao Yan, calm down. A somewhat icy cool, smooth hand gently grabbed his arm while the desire to kill surged in his mind. A worried soft cry was transmitted into his ear. Xiao Yan's heart shook slightly after hearing this cry. Only then did he regain his rational thoughts. He deeply inhaled a couple of breaths and suppressed the murderous desire in his heart. His ferocious face slowly regained its usual calm. Hand over the two ancient god jade. The fog around that black fog figure fluctuated after seeing Xiao Yan gradually calm down. He let out a cold cry in the process. I'm afraid that if I really hand the Tushi ancient god jade to you, my father will only end up dying even quicker. Xiao Yan's eyes were terrifyingly dark as they stared at the figure in the black fog. He said, "This trick is useless against me. Bring my father to me if you wish to obtain the Tushi ancient god jade. Otherwise, I will only end up ignoring all of your threats. The ancient jade in my hand can sense if my father's alive. Should it lose contact, I will hand it to the Gu clan. At that time, you will never obtain it. You are going to ignore the death of your father because of the ancient jade?" That human figure in the black fog coldly laughed upon hearing these words. Xiao Yan faintly smiled. His face once again recovered its usual calm. He didn't know why the Hall of Souls was so anxious to obtain the Tushi ancient god jade. Regardless of the actual reason, the ancient jade was the talisman that protected his father's life. The Hall of Souls would not dare to truly take his father's life as long as the ancient jade was around. Hence, he could not hand over the ancient jade before he could guarantee Xiao Zhan's safety. There was a high chance that the Hall of Souls would truly take his father's life the moment he handed it over. He, what a ruthless person. It is indeed as First Tianzuan mentioned. Such methods will not work against you. As Xiao Yan regained his composure, the human figure in the black fog understood that this scheme did not have much of an effect. Xiao Yan was expressionless. He said, "If you do not dare to reveal your actual body, you can get lost now. Xiao Yan, you should cease acting arrogantly in front of this chief. Do you really think that you can fight my Hall of Souls by just establishing this so-called Sky Mansion alliance? TSK, just wait. Once all of you become aware of the strength of my Hall of Souls, you will naturally give up all hope." That human figure in the black fog strangely laughed. "As for the Pill Tower, our Hall of Souls would normally give you some face, but you have given this up, so do not blame my Hall of Souls for being vicious. Coincidentally, we have been eyeing the alchemists in your Pill Tower for a long time. I will also advise the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley to not randomly get involved in this mess. Otherwise, it will be too late to rethink things when your faction is destroyed. Whether you can swallow my Pill Tower will depend on how hard your teeth are." The first elder coldly laughed. Ads by Pub Future. Fairy Qing and Ancestor Ho Yun narrowed their eyes, but they merely looked from the side with cold eyes and did not utter a word. Xiao Yan's eyes were dark and cold as he stared at the human figure in the black fog. He was too lazy to argue with the latter. He slowly clenched his hand. "Inform everyone after you return that I will kill every single bastard from the Hall of Souls and the Hun clan in the future." The space around that person in the black fog immediately collapsed with a bang the moment Xiao Yan clenched his hand. A frightening strength cracked space itself. At the same time, that person in black fog instantly turned into nothing. TSK, what an arrogant brat. Who do you think you are? Even someone as strong as Xiao Xian was defeated by the hands of my Hun clan. You, a mere one-star dosheng, really do not know your limits. Haha, this chief will wait for that day to come. As long as you dare to come, I will personally kill you. A strange laughter echoed within the large hall after the human figure in the black fog disappeared. The laughter continued for a long time. Looks like our alliance was discovered by the Hall of Souls a long time ago. Otherwise, this person would not have shown himself in an attempt to deter everyone present and hinder the alliance. Yao Lao slowly spoke as he watched the hall gradually become quiet. This alliance has definitely caused the Hall of Souls to feel a little fear. Otherwise, they would not do such a thing given their characters. Xiao Yan spoke in a faint voice. Has anyone heard of that deputy hall chief from the Hall of Souls earlier? I've never heard of him. There are many experts within the Hun clan. This deputy hall chief is probably an expert from within the Hun clan. Ancestor Ho Yun frowned and coldly laughed, However, the strength of this person is at the very most a 3-star dosheng. Otherwise, it would not be a shadow arriving today. Instead, it would have been an actual person. He only hid himself because he is not confident he can defeat all of us. Xiaoyan slightly nodded. The deputy hall chief from earlier was clearly afraid of their lineup. Everyone, the matter of the alliance has already been settled. Does anyone have any final inquiries? Xiaoyan's eyes swept over everyone as he continued. The Hall of Souls is this alliance's powerful enemy. Once this alliance is publicly announced, the Hall of Souls will definitely not stay calm. At that time, we will have to join hands and fight our enemy. The first elder of the Pill Tower, Ancestor Ho Yun, Fairy Qing, and the rest looked at each other. Finally, they slowly shook their heads. None of them were ordinary. It was impossible for them to be frightened to the point of changing their minds because the deputy chief of the Hall of Souls threatened them. Since this is the case, we will announce this matter in a couple of days. At that time, I hope everyone will act to build a wormhole between each faction in order to reinforce any party as fast as possible. Xiaoyan uttered in a deep voice. Aye. Everyone nodded upon hearing his words. The alliance was formed. It was likely that the Hall of Souls would make a formal response to this alliance. Their futures would not be peaceful. Let's not delay any longer. We will now head back and build wormholes. Xiaoyan smiled and nodded as he watched Ancestor Ho Yun and the rest stand up to leave. He stood up with Yao Lao's group and sent them off. His eyes looked at their swiftly disappearing figures, after which he exchanged glances with those present. All of them felt a storm approaching. The Central Plains, which had been relatively calm for many years, was likely going to be lively again. After the Falling Star Pavilion, the Pill Tower, the Flower Sect, and the Burning Flame Valley announced the formation of the Sky Mansion Alliance. The entire Central Plains was blasted apart by this extremely huge bomb. Chaos instantly erupted across the land. The 4 big factions possessed extremely renowned reputations within the Central Plains. Any one of them could be considered a giant. A faction like the Pill Tower could no longer be described as a simple giant. This faction possessed an extremely frightening ability to gather people. It might have appeared extremely gentle over the years, but as long as one was not a fool, one would be able to detect the frightening strength hidden beneath this lazy appearance. The lineup from the formation of this alliance between 4 powerful factions was many times stronger than the Profound River Alliance before. Compared to this newly formed Sky Mansion Alliance, the Profound River Alliance was an extremely ordinary shrimp. Just a random finger of the Sky Mansion Alliance could destroy the Profound River Alliance. Everyone could imagine how much the strength of this alliance, formed by the 4 factions, would swell. If this large alliance were to face the extremely large Hall of Souls, it would no longer need to feel the least bit afraid. A new super faction that could match the strength of the Hall of Souls was born within the Central Plains. While the Central Plains was in an uproar over this explosive news, many sects and factions began to think. Everyone in the world thought of grabbing this giant support to gain good prospects. The strength of this Sky Mansion Alliance could only be described as shocking. In the future, few factions in this world could compare with them. If a faction or an individual was able to enjoy their protection, it would end up bringing them many benefits. Hence, on the 3rd day after this news was released, the Falling Star Pavilion had suddenly become extremely lively. The leaders of tons of factions had hurried over a great distance to reach the Falling Star Pavilion. They were all requesting to join this alliance. Yao Lao and Xiaoyan did not accept all of these requests that came from everywhere. This alliance was their only capital to fight the Hall of Souls. Naturally, they viewed it with great importance. Most of these factions were fence-sitters. They had only come to them because the alliance was strong. Should the alliance end up losing its power, these people would immediately leave. At that time, it would be a blow to the alliance's morale. Hence, they did not accept these factions, which were like rat feces. However, there was little need for Xiao Yin to worry about such matters. Due to this being a busy period of time, Feng Zunjia, who had been managing the tasks in the other territories of the Falling Star Pavilion, had been summoned back by Yao Lao. During these years, Feng Zunjia and Yao Lao had managed the external matters and internal matters of the Falling Star Pavilion. This was a key reason for the rapid development of the Falling Star Pavilion. Although Feng Zunjia's reputation and strength were both inferior to Yao Lao, he was better at Yao Lao when it came to management. Hence, Yao Lao hurriedly dispatched some other elders to take over Feng Zunjia's previous tasks once the alliance was successful. Then Feng Zunjia hurried back and resolved all these troublesome tasks. There was clearly no need to doubt Feng Zunjia's ability to manage. Soon after returning to the Falling Star Pavilion, he had begun to settle various tasks. After numerous tasks were settled in an orderly fashion by Feng Zunjia, both Xiao Yin and Yao Lao ended up feeling a little ashamed. Following the flow of time, some factions passed the strict selection process and successfully joined the Sky Mansion Alliance. This allowed this alliance's reputation to continue rising a little at a time. If this positive cycle continued, the potential of the Sky Mansion Alliance would undoubtedly be a little frightening with the help of the Pill Tower. The four big factions had made full use this period of time to build the wormholes. Now, they would be able to rapidly hurry to each other's aid. Only then could they be considered an alliance that attacked and defended together. However, Xiao Yin found it a little surprising that the Hall of Souls did not do anything while the alliance was busy. It was as though they need not care about this alliance that could threaten them. Regardless of what the Hall of Souls did, Xiao Yan's group had decided to establish a specialized information hall after some discussions. The aim of this information hall was to investigate all of the branches the Hall of Souls had created across the Central Plains. One should always know one's enemy as well as one knows oneself. The Hall of Souls was their greatest enemy. Hence, the Alliance needed to be aware of their locations. Once the time was ripe, they might even be able to shift from being passive to being active. It must be said that the cooperation of the four big factions after the formation of the Alliance was extremely great. Within half a month, 2 of the branch halls of the Hall of Souls had been discovered. Although they had suffered some losses during the search, they still ended up gaining a lot. Xiao Yin felt the impulse to eliminate these branch halls personally, but he suppressed this impulse after calming down. Although the strength of the Alliance had been increased, they would end up in a situation where no one would win if they were to fight to the death with the Hall of Souls now. This ending was not what Xiao Yin desired because there was still the even more frightening Hun clan behind the Hall of Souls. The Alliance might be a sharp weapon used to fight the Hall of Souls, but it was also a powerful strength to deter the Hall of Souls. It must possess a powerful strength at all times. Otherwise, this alliance would ultimately end up in the same situation as ancestor Shaoxin. This alliance was only in its infancy. Once everything stabilized in the future, the influence and the abilities of the Pill Tower might even attract some Bansheng, or even some Dosheng old demons who were living in isolation. If it was possible to absorb them into the alliance, they would truly benefit the alliance. Hence, the current Sky Mansion Alliance could not be arrogant just because of the recent increase in strength. They would only succeed in dealing with the Hall of Souls and the Hun clan if they accumulated strength slowly and were always well prepared. They would quietly gather strength and wait for the proper time to unleash it. While the Alliance was searching for the locations of the Hall of Souls, the Alliance also selected some extremely powerful experts to form some small teams. These teams were created to prevent the Hall of Souls from continuing to capture the souls of the Alliance's alchemists. These small teams would roam the territories of the Alliance. They would hurry over at the fastest speed if they discovered any Alliance signal that requested help. This special protection undoubtedly pleased the alchemists from the Pill Tower. Some of the alchemists, who had been displeased about the pill tower giving up its neutral stance, gradually accepted the protection and the benefits that this alliance provided them with. 1 month quietly passed while this alliance was bustling with activity and unleashing a shocking potential. Ads by PubFuture. Xiao Yin, Yao Lao, Kai Lin, the little fairy doctor, and some others were seated in a quiet courtyard within the Falling Star Pavilion. It was a rare opportunity for them to gather together. This busy period had made it impossible for all of them to free themselves. There has still been no reaction from the Hall of Souls. If I have guessed correctly, they should be waiting for the purifying demonic lotus flame that will appear in 9 months. Yao Lao lifted his teacup. He sipped from it before slowly revealing his thoughts. How could they know any information regarding the purifying demonic lotus flame? Xiao Yin knit his brows. This news was something that he had learned after spending over a decade collecting all the map fragments. How was it possible for the Hun clan to know of it? The things that the Hun clan know far exceed what you can imagine, Yao Lao smiled faintly and said. This is also not the first time the purifying demonic lotus flame has appeared. They have been around for many years, and probably have records of it. Xiao Yin was a little speechless after hearing this explanation. His hand rubbed his forehead without realizing it. If the mysterious light inside of his head was useless, it was really a waste to search for all the map fragments. There are still 9 months before the purifying demonic lotus flame will appear. You should also make preparations. The Hall of Souls will definitely dispatch truly strong individuals to snatch it. Hence, we must try our best to raise our strength as much as possible. Yao Lao spoke. It is not easy to advance even a little within the Doshang class. In another 3 months, I should be able to reach the 1-star Doshang intermediate level. At this rate, I will only, at the very most, be at the peak 1-star Kushang class after 9 months, Xiao Yin helplessly uttered. I am not talking about you. I am talking about Kai Lin. She is a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. As long as she is provided with enough energy, she will quickly advance to the Bansheng class. The heaven-swallowing python's physical body is strong. She will be able to fight against a genuine Doshang. If she can advance to the Bansheng class, she will be of great help to you. Yao Lao laughed. That little girlfriend of yours in the Gu clan is rumored to have undertaken a retreat after leaving the ancient wasteland region. Once she exits her retreat, the Gu clan will have gained an additional elite Doshang. At that time, if we call her to join us, she will definitely also be of great help. Xiao Yin could only bitterly smile after hearing Yao Lao's words. Kai Lin and Sun Er both possessed unusually great potential. One of them was a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python, an existence even rarer than the ancient void dragon, while the other possessed the legendary divine bloodline. They would be able to obtain double the results with half the effort while training. Xiao Yin appeared ordinary when compared to them, but there was ultimately a lot of unfairness in this world. If Xiao Yin were to focus on this unfairness, he would not have been able to attain his current achievements. Although a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python will be able to advance as long as it has the energy to do so, the energy required is extremely frightening. Where can we go and find such a terrifying treasure ground? Xiao Yin softly sighed. There is a spot in this world that could help Kai Lin temper her physical body. Moreover, she is in possession of an extremely rare, 9-colored essence stone. If she is very lucky, she might even be able to evolve into an existence comparable to an ancient heaven snake king, a 9-colored heaven-swallowing python. Yao Lao narrowed his eyes. He smiled slightly as he spoke. Where? Both Xiao Yan's and Kai Lin's eyes swiftly gathered on Yao Lao. The 9 Serene deep ground python tribes, 9 Serene Spring? Yao Lao laughed. His eyes suddenly looked at Xiao Yin as he said, If you wish to subdue the purifying lotus demon flame, this 9 Serene Spring is a place you must visit.